All right, my name is Heather Gray, and the program is Just Peace, and I want to welcome you all to our program this evening. We're going to be talking with Rashid Nuri of the Truly Living Well Center for Natural Urban Agriculture, and it's always a treat to have him on the program. We do this once a month. It's usually the last Monday of the month, and this is leap year. Am I right, Rashid?
About which, that we do it the last Monday or today is leap day?
Today is leap day. We also do it on the last Monday. Both.
Yes.
Both of that is true. And we also have Sabukwe Shakura here at the board, which I'm really thrilled about. So, Rashid, you are with the Truly Living Well Center for Natural Urban Agriculture, and actually, Truly Living Well is now in its second decade of existence.
Wow, I hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I
Yeah,
like
it
that.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is our second decade, 11th year. We're still standing. We've gone through some trials and tribulations, but we're still standing.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Now, you have, I think, 4 gardens. I always go over this, at the beginning of the show, where you're growing produce, and you grow naturally, organically. Am I right?
That's correct.
Yeah. But you have had your major facility at the Wheat Street Gardens, which is in the Auburn Avenue area, and you guys are going to move shortly.
Yes,
I don't know
ma'am.
about shortly, but sometime you're going to be moving.
It's shortly. We have about 6 weeks to vacate and get moved and set up over on the west side. And we're very excited about it. It's a great opportunity for us to have a permanent home in a neighborhood, in an area of the city that is very much up and coming. There's a lot of focus on development on the west side, and we think that we can play an essential role in that development by bringing our programs, our food, creating jobs, and participating in the economic development of those neighborhoods.
Yeah, so tell us about why you're excited about moving to this neighborhood.
Because we'll have our own piece of land. I won't be dependent upon anybody else to allow me to farm. Too many of the young farmers have been on pieces of land that they have not been able to maintain. Some of the funders today are concerned that before they will give grants to people, they want to see the lease that they have so that they know the investment which is being made will be secure. We've had a lot of changes in land tenure amongst the urban growers. So that is a real concern, despite the fact that there is so much open land. It's the security on the land that becomes an issue. For us, in the years we've been here, I've probably used 10 or 11 different sites to grow on. Where our office is in East Point, we've been there for the entire time. That's pretty secure there. But downtown, we knew that we weren't going to be there forever.
And you've been there 4 years, I think.
No, over 5 years.
It's over 5.
Yeah,
is that
we're
right?
6 years downtown.
Okay.
And what was good about it, I made the decision to go there and to build there and make the investment that we did because I thought it's important that we were able to demonstrate the efficacy of urban agriculture in the shadow of the downtown skyscrapers so people could actually see all the things that could be done. It was visible, it was accessible, and I think that we have, through our work, we've been able to help uplift and brand and demonstrate, most of all, that urban agriculture is an important part of the modern landscape.
Absolutely. And, these 10 years that you have had Truly Living Well, that you started the organization, we've seen just a lot of changes in Atlanta. I know I'm always mentioning this, but it's absolutely true. A lot more people interested in buying locally, learning about healthy food and so forth. I know you all have been teaching, Rashid, but I'm impressed with what's been happening in Atlanta and, in fact, around the country. It's impressive.
It's amazing how much we can get done if we're not concerned with who gets the credit. And there are a lot of people who have been engaged and involved in this work in urban agriculture, and it has come a tremendous long way since I came to Atlanta.
Right.
And so it is quite rewarding to see the development of a local food system. And, when we began back the first idea for Truly Living Well was hatched in 2005. We began the work in 2006, and at that time we talked about the creation of a local food movement. And I would suggest that today we are way past being a movement, and that we are building a local food system with all of the organizations that are engaged in the process. Community Farmers Markets now has 7 farmers markets that they manage throughout the metropolitan area. The number of, you got the Food Well Alliance, who's dedicated to urban agriculture. The city has now appointed a director of urban agriculture. The Georgia Organics they just had the conference this weekend. You had so many of the local farmers involved in that at their meeting and giving seminars and teaching there. It's a wonderful thing to see. You go online and look at all of the people that are engaged and involved. MARTA now has markets in front of the MARTA stations, okay, and they want to expand that program. The Beltline has a farm, and none of this existed back in 2005, 2006. So it is very rewarding to see our local food system growing. The number of farmers markets has expanded. And as you said, the demand far outstrips the supply for natural, chemical-free, organic, certified, naturally grown food. It's really a marvelous thing to experience.
Yeah, excellent. Good. So when you make the move to the Beltway, you're going to have your programs as well. You're going to be doing a lot of education and so forth, right?
Yes, ma'am. No, in fact,
you're going to be in a community where it's going to be easier for you to do that? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you, Rashid. Go ahead.
No. I wouldn't say so much that it's going to be easier, but our constituencies are going to be right there where we are.
Excellent.
There's a boys club, a girls club, the Atlanta Public Schools Instructional Center. You got a senior citizens housing, Washington High down the street, the Beltline across the street, down a couple blocks down the way, a church right there. Washington High, I said that. M. Agnes Jones Elementary School, literally across the street. So, and then we're 3 blocks from the AU Center. So we have all of those constituencies, all those folks that we work with. So we will continue to maintain a presence in the 4th Ward. We will continue to work at the other 6 after-school programs that we have established. Actually, one of those is at the Boys Club right there in the neighborhood that we've been traveling to. So all the programs, and that give us a hub from which we can continue our outreach to the community. So I'm very excited, and as I said, the principal thing that works is that we have our own site, and it belongs to us, and we can use that to grow and expand.
Yeah, that's just excellent. So I look forward to seeing this new place and what you all are doing there.
You haven't been there?
I have not seen it yet.
Shame on you.
I think we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned. Again, my name is Heather Gray, and the program is Just Peace, and we're talking this evening, it's our monthly discussion with Rashid Nuri of the Truly Living Well Center for Natural Urban Agriculture, and we will open up the phone lines in just a little bit. I want to continue having a discussion with Rashid about some things, though. Rashid, there was an article I was reading this week about the fact that we are losing, unfortunately, a lot of our pollinators. And of course, like bees, honeybees, and other insects actually that help pollinate the crops. But, and in this article, they were talking, of course, and we know this, we've had discussions about this, the use of chemicals and so forth, and Roundup and all these stuff, are impacting these insects. And actually almost making a serious effort to exterminate them, unfortunately. But they also, in this article, they were talking about the importance of diversity in crop production. I mean, not just having one huge field monocrop, which leads to disease and other kinds of things. That I'd like to have a discussion with you about that. I know we've talked about this before, but I think it's so incredibly important. I mean, what we're witnessing, I think, here in Atlanta is perhaps a model for what can be in other cities. I know other cities are doing some of the same as well, but also for rural America. Am I right?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. First, let's start with the fact that the population has shifted and people do live in urban. 1%, 82% of Americans live in urban areas. As contrast with the beginning of the last century, when 95% of the population lived in rural areas. Begin there. So the question is about biodiversity and ecodiversity. It used to be that a farmer not only would grow a commodity crop, but he would grow all the food for his own family. And in the state of Georgia, the southwest part of the state is the richest agricultural producing area of Georgia. And the poverty, sickness is highest in those areas where the farmers are.
And it's huge obesity.
Yeah, and so
rural areas,
that's an anomaly. You'd wonder why. It's because the country, commercial agriculture, has moved to a monocrop system. You grow, or monocrop commodity crops down there: cotton, corn, peanuts, soybeans. These are the things that people grow. And they don't even grow their own food. So when they want to use the term food deserts, most times people are referring to urban areas where poor people live. And I contend that a food desert is where you don't have access to quality food. In the farm belt, they don't have access to quality food. Those folk need to drive long distance to get to IGA and Piggly Wiggly to get the non-food that they sell there.
Exactly.
And even in the urban areas, you've had the folks that live in the richer neighborhoods still have to drive a good distance to get quality food. The difference is poor people have to take 2 buses and a train to get the quality food, where in the rich neighborhoods you can jump in their Mercedes-Benz and drive down there. That's why I don't like the term food deserts. We need to talk in terms of food self-sufficiency, food sovereignty. Providing the economics need to change so that everybody has access to quality food. Quality food must be a right in this country and not a privilege. And those inequities, those economic inequities, are things that we have to remedy through this. We are remedying through the creation of a local food system. I used to, many years ago, in years past, I used to say with pride that Truly Living Well sold food to 7 out of the 12 top restaurants in Atlanta. I don't sell any food to restaurants these days. It's not a bad thing. I can only produce so much, but the food that we are producing is going into the stomachs of poor people. We have 3 food co-ops that we have started, okay, and in neighborhoods where the average income is $5,000 a year. Think about that. We live in America, the richest country in the history of the world, and you got people who trying to live on $5,000 and don't have access to quality food. They're eating garbage. So we're able to get food to them. We're working with these children in our after-school program, so they're learning to grow their own food, recognize it. Our summer camps, the children have a garden. And I think that we are an education and training institute, and reaching the children and working with the children is the first line of defense, or the first line of offense, to create the kind of systems that we think need to be in place. It used to be that mankind lived within walking distance of where his food is produced. Those times are long gone. Our food is traveling 1,500 and 2,000 miles. So we still have a long way to go to get everybody eating well. We have a tremendously long way to go, but we have a good start, sufficient for me to now say it's not a local food movement we're engaged in now. We are building a local food system, and it continues to expand. The fact that we've enumerated all the increased number of farmers. Every neighborhood has a farmer's market. What we don't have yet is a place where you can go and get quality local food every day. Okay, farmers market that's open 7 days a week. There used to be, I guess it was actually the second time I came to Georgia back in the 80s, there used to be a farmers market up there where you can go, where people actually had food that was grown by local farmers. You can go out to the DeKalb Farmers Market. They have a wonderful display of international foods, but that food's not produced locally. I mean, you can get anything you want, but it's not local food. Whole Foods has wonderful food, but their idea of local is anywhere up to Virginia and Florida is all part of the same network, where the farmers markets that exist around town is food grown by people right here in this community, nearby, in the community where you can get this food. And we're moving it. Today I visited a woman out in Douglasville who was full-time growing food in her backyard. She wanted to put up a hoop house, and her neighbors objected. Man, they went all the way up to the commission and made her take down a hoop house that she was in the process of constructing. But she has a beautiful garden with raised beds. She's growing all year round, and it was just in a very. Her neighborhood is one of those McMansions, you know, people living large up in there. But here in her backyard, her entire, she took down the trees and is just growing food that she sells at 3 or 4 markets around town. That was so inspiring to see that kind of work being done. And you ride through in most neighborhoods, and you'll see where people are now growing food like they did back in the day. It's a wonderful thing to experience.
Yeah, great. I want to get back to, though.
Oh, the eco diversity and such.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Yes. No.
I got sidetracked on that.
No.
So what we do, how I was going, the farmers don't even grow their own food. Okay, they having to go to the store to buy it. You know, they don't have chickens in the yard, and God forbid hogs and whatever, the cattle right there. So they have their own produce, meat. People used to produce their own syrup from sorghum or cane. All of it was just produced. I mean, this is what poor people did. Everybody did. They produced their own food, so they were self-sufficient. They had food sovereignty. They controlled their own food sources, which you don't now. Because if I control your food, I control you, and this is one of the problems that we have in our society. So they stopped having that biodiversity. They're monocropping, using pesticides, herbicides. You're getting these monster weeds, these frankenweeds, that the more chemicals you put on them, the stronger they get, and they bigger and stronger come back. So you got to add more and more chemicals to the fields to grow this food, more and more water to the field. So it's a systems and cycles that are out of whack. It doesn't work. It's broken, and it needs to be corrected. And the way we're correcting is through our local food economy. Our name of our organization is the Truly Living Well Center for Natural Urban Agriculture, and that's the key phrase. We are using nature as our exemplar. We're trying to follow the principles of nature. We do follow the principles of nature in how we grow. For those, I invite anybody who hasn't been to our sites or any of our sites to come, and you can see how we integrate everything. I've had a number of young people come through. They leave us to go take a permaculture course and come back and say, "Oh, wow, Rashid, you're using permaculture principles out here." Well, duh. I mean, if you had asked me, I could explain it to you before you went. But what we have, we growing things year round. We have fruit trees. We have flowers. We have herbs. We have in the vegetables. What we are doing is creating a biodiverse and eco-diverse environment that invites the beneficial insects, the beneficial birds. And then we build soil. The essence of what we do is to build soil. Let God grow the food, but we create an environment with the plants that we grow that is complete. And complete is the word that I use. That's my definition of organic. Is a system that's complete. So everything that you need is right there. We growing our worms. We have our compost. We have our chickens that are out there scratching. We grow our own plants in the greenhouse. I mean, so everything is right. It's all the elements are there. We got that. We have our aquaponic system. I already said the greenhouse. We collecting water. So it's all right there. It's biodiverse and eco-diverse. So sometimes young people they want to discuss companion planting, which I think is valuable, but they want to know, what do I put right next to my tomatoes to protect the tomatoes, not understanding that if you have a diverse environment around you, you've created the companion planting. It doesn't have to be in one space, because the insects will take care of that pollinating and going back and forth. That was the question raised. Where have all the bees gone? Well, we've killed them. Okay. First of all, we wouldn't have most of the fruit crops, particularly out in California, without the bees to do the pollination. Down in Florida also. But they pull these bees up. The bees move on back of 18-wheeler tractor trailers around the country. When they're not fertilizing the field, they give them sugar water. You know what sugar does? Pure hybrid GMO sugar that you're feeding those bees is killing them. That plus all the sprays that are in the air, so they're getting killed that way, and we're moving these things around. So it's no surprise that you're getting hive collapses and the bees dying. The insects are dying. They're getting ready to start spraying again. They banned DDT back in the late 50s, early 60s, after they finished killing malaria in this country using DDT, they banned it around the world. So you got all these different mosquitoes now that are coming back killing folks because we got environments that are just not natural anymore, and we got to change our ways. We're going to kill ourselves. We're not going to kill the planet. We're going to kill all the humans.
Yeah, right. I want to ask you, though, along the lines of what you were saying, when you have a monocrop, you, of course, don't have that beneficial environment.
No, there's no diversity.
And it leads to disease and so forth. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or what?
Okay, see.
When you, like, say you have a large field of just corn.
Yeah. How do I explain it? A monocrop, you got one thing out there. You don't have any diversity.
Exactly.
Okay. So, and how things work in nature, the plants protect themselves. You got to have the soil strong. You got the microorganisms of funguses that are in the soil, the roly-poly, all of the earthworms, all these things build a strong soil. Strong soil is going to create a strong plant. Now, in nature, you're going to lose a certain amount. You come out to our farm, you're going to lose it. There's a certain amount we're going to lose every year. We know that either through people taking it or through disease. But this is how the herds of wild animals, particularly you go out in East Africa and see all the wildebeest and the antelope, and the lions and the leopards and the jaguars, they keep that herd strong by getting rid of the weak, the old, and the infirm. And that's the same thing that happens in the garden. Your garden will be strong. You're going to have some things out there that are not going to survive, but the plants talk to each other. They help inoculate each other by they communicate with one another. And
Why do you say that?
Because they do. Man, you get out in the forest that has both conifers and deciduous trees, ones that drop leaves and those that are evergreens. One part of the year, the conifers will feed the evergreens. Another part of the year, the evergreens will feed the conifers. They communicate through the mycorrhiza under the soil. I mean, that's the web that connects up all the plants. So they're able, and they've done experiments. They can show that the plants, they say, oh, here comes some disease, and they'll talk to the neighbors. And let's build up our defenses so we can protect this whole thing. Oh, they got our cousin over there, but they're not going to get us because we've protected ourselves. The intelligence of plants is just so far beyond what we can imagine. And there are a number of people that have written about this. And if you go out and spend some time in nature and just look and listen and watch, you can see how this actually works. So how do I know? Because the plants talk. You can listen to them, and the soil talks if you can hear and see and listen.
I just want to tell our listeners that you are listening to WRFG Atlanta 89.3 FM. My name is Heather Gray. I'm here in the studio talking with Rashid Nuri of the Truly Living Well Center for Natural Urban Agriculture, as well as we have Sabukwe Shakura, thankfully, at the board here. It's always a thrill to have him here in the studio as well. We are going to open up the phone lines. The phone number here into the studio is 404-523-8989. Please give us a call if you have a comment or question you'd like to ask Rashid. Just getting back to communication of plants, it's interesting as far as communication is concerned. I guess we can have a distorted understanding of what communication is, right? I mean, you're offering a whole other way that the plants are communicating through their roots and so forth, right, Rashid? I mean, when we think about communicating, I'm thinking about either the way I'm looking at someone or what I'm saying or how I'm moving my arms or whatever, right? That's a human.
That's human communication.
Exactly.
Now, let me tell you about plants. They're amazing. First of all, every living thing on this earth depends upon the sun for its energy. Mm-hmm. That energy is converted. The plants live directly off the sun. Mm-hmm. Okay, we live off the sun's energy that's converted through the plants to us to eat. There is an intelligence there. And if you think, of what's that man that comic book character that moves real fast? Whoa, Flash.
Okay.
How Flash moves around the city real quick. And I think if for us, we don't see the plants moving and dancing and communicating with each other the way they do because we're moving so fast. If we could slow down to the pace of those plants, then we would begin to see and have a better understanding of how they communicate with one another. But we're moving so fast in relationship to those plants, but the plants are smarter than we are. They know how to maintain. Go to New York City, you can see grass growing up through the concrete.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
That's
all
powerful.
right. So we have a caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, you have a question or comment you'd like to make.
Yes, first of all, let me give you a little bit of background. I'm in the lawn and garden business and have been there for about 23 years, so I have a little bit of background in the lawn and garden chemical and nutrient lines, if you will. And what the gentleman's saying, he is spot on. There is a symbiotic relationship between the soil and the plants. One of the things that we really try to teach gardeners is that if you can have a healthy soil that can really increase that nutrient uptake into the plant, the beauty of it is if you have a healthy plant, then you don't have to spray as many pesticides, and you can have more of an organic system in your yard.
Excellent.
And the interesting thing, like I said, I've been in the business for 23 years, and the really interesting part of what's going on in the industry now is you're starting to see a big push, a big consumer demand for organic and all-natural products. And what he was talking about earlier with the killing the bees, basically what the line of chemicals that kills the bees is the neonicotinoids. And you're starting to see a big pushback from the consumers on the use of those type chemicals. So, as a matter of fact, Lowe's is phasing out any and all neonicotinoid active ingredients in their pesticides. They're going to phase it out by 2017.
Excellent.
So I want to make
Excellent.
a few comments on that and just say I enjoy listening to your show. It's quite fascinating.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you. We have another caller. Did you have any additional comments?
No,
he said it all, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting that he was affirming what you were saying in food production, but in just having a lawn or whatever, which is encouraging.
One of the things when we got here, the University of Georgia has an urban agricultural school at Griffin, campus at Griffin.
Right.
And you know what they teach down there?
What are they teaching?
How to grow grass and shrubs.
Okay, let me put you-
Urban
okay.
agriculture, but they do not teach food.
Oh, that's interesting. We have a caller.
Go ahead.
Sabukwe?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just want to say, I just turned on the radio a few minutes ago, and I really I was drawn into what Rashid was saying and the information he was giving, and I really, I just got excited, energized and such, but I learned two things. Can you hear me?
Next
Yeah,
speaker is finished talking.
Sabukwe?
Uh-huh.
Sorry, your microphone's on. Sorry. Go ahead. We had some interference here. Go ahead.
Okay, I learned some things that I didn't know because I'm just now starting to garden again myself after, well, actually I never have, but I planted collards this year. But what I'm saying is, trying to say is, I too was questioning. Oh, what do I put next to the tomatoes to make the and so I liked the simplicity and of what Rashid said. It's like, first of all, don't stress over it. Is how I took it. Don't worry about it, and that they will communicate with one another and work it out. That's more or less. That simplified it for me. The other thing I liked was hearing what you said, because I was one of these people as well. When I heard the term food deserts, I too was thinking, okay, well, it's he used the word urban, like a place where I drive in some of the areas like downtown and stuff, and I think, there's no grocery store, there's no there's no good food, you only have those gas stations with those kind of bad foods. And so that's what I was thinking as well. But he expanded my thinking on that no, it's like he said, just drive an hour down the road maybe, or 2 hours, however long, you know what
Yeah, exactly.
And you're saying it quite well, madam.
Thank you. And I appreciate what you're saying. I've listened to you for several times, and your knowledge is growing. I mean, maybe you're just sharing more. I love it. Okay,
Well, it's nice being in the studio with Rashid when he's talking about this, because he gets so excited about it, It's like thank you for calling. Thanks for calling.
It's valuable information. And what I'm hearing as well, and I'd like to just put out there, if we just simplified and just written, I want to say this if I have another minute longer. I was listening to the radio yesterday or Sunday, and it was about communication. And the woman wrote a book, but she was saying that it takes 7 minutes for two people to even get comfortable enough to, give a person 7 minutes before you think, you grab your phone, this is a boring conversation or something. You know what I mean? It's like the time span for people is like after 2 minutes, people it was all about text, phone.
And that's why.
I'm hanging up now.
All right. Thank you so much for calling.
And what I would add to that,
Thank
this
you.
is why I think that sharing food with people is so important, because you're going to get more than that 7 minutes. You're going to take you that long for you can get your order in.
Yeah.
So to sit down, there's nothing. Sharing meal with somebody is one of the most intimate things that you can do, because you're really going to have to get to know that person one way or another by sitting at a table with them eating, and you're going to get more than 7 minutes. So that's cool.
So we have another caller?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Hello?
yes. Welcome. You have a
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm interested in the program and all that is being said, but I need to know where the gardens are, especially the new one that you're going to.
Thank you for asking, sir. We'll be at Wheat Street, right off of Auburn Avenue.
I know where that is.
Okay, just so other people who don't know, is on Hilliard. We'll be there for until the end of April. Our office is in East Point on Washington Road, 3353 Washington Road. We have gardens there, and that's where our office space is. The new site is on Lawton Avenue, between Sells and Westview, just 3 blocks down the hill from the Morehouse Stadium on the west side. So at Ashview Heights, I think they call that neighborhood, or their number names. It is in the West End. So it's Lawton Avenue between Sells and Westview, right next to Dean Rusk Park.
You said, what's the name of the street one more time?
Lawton, Lawton. Lawton.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good information. Thank you so much for calling. Did you have any other comment you wanted to make?
No, I'm going to hook up with it. I'm a country boy. I used to have my own garden, but I've been in the city, and most of my land is on rocks for years, but I've relocated, so I've got some ground I can grow.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent.
Do
excellent.
raised beds.
All right.
That's the easiest thing for people in the city to grow, is to grow in raised beds.
Okay.
Right.
I want to thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
So take care now. Thanks. Sabukwa, we have another caller. Caller, are you there?
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for joining us.
Hi. Thank you so much. I wanted to say that my daughter was a part of your summer camp a few years ago, and it was a wonderful experience for her. I'm so sorry that you've moved, but I wanted to find out where you will be for the camp for the summer, and also if you've ever thought about having a program during the winter for the children on the weekends, that sort of thing.
Thank you for asking. This summer, we're going to do something different. We're going to have camps in different parts of the city. We're going to have, I think the month of July will be at our new site. We'll have 2 sessions there. And we're going to have some sessions in the old 4th Ward, and we want to maintain our presence there. Now, we do have our after-school programs that exist in a number of locations around. I guess now we just started a 6th. Our first one in the high school is out at Langston Hughes High School, but we're at Pittman, we're in Thomasville, we're at Candazy School. So we're going to grow. We are growing our outreach activities. I've got some agriculture educators on staff now. We actually have an education department now within Truly Living Well. Program services director who manages all of these different programs for us. I would, if you have a specific school that you would like to see us work in, if you would send an email to the office, info at trulylivingwell.com, and we can follow up with you with a specific, to define and specific opportunities that may exist. But the answer,
I just think that is wonderful because I'm so sorry she didn't continue with it. And when we were at the grocer's a few months ago, I believe it was, she mentioned something that she had learned about the chickens and different things that you all had taught her at Truly Living Well. So it was a really great experience, and I would love for that to continue all year long with the children as they grow.
yes, ma'am. Get in touch with us at our office. The number there is 678-973-0997. As we've grown now, I can't handle all the business. A lot of the stuff is above my pay grade these days. But if you call the office or send an email, we'll be glad to follow up with you. Make sure you get on our mailing list so you can see. We send out a newsletter on a regular basis, letting people know what activities that we are involved and engaged in.
I think that's awesome. And the last thing, have you ever thought about doing videos or TV programs so that it can go nationwide and beyond that to show people how it's done?
God bless you, sis. That's a wonderful idea. Yes, we have thought of those ideas. The question is money.
Okay.
Resources. If you can help me get the cash, we can get those things done. If you look, we do have a number of videos on our website. If you Google my name, Truly Living Well, or my name, Rashid Nuri, you will find a number of things that come up. There are other organizations such as Georgia Organics who have a lot of educational 3-minute videos on a whole lot of subjects around urban agriculture that are that they got funded by the Department of Agriculture to produce, and they are quite good.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, ma'am.
Thanks
Have a
so
good
much
day.
for calling.
You're welcome.
I think we have another caller, but we'll get the caller on the line. But Rashid, give some other contact, your website and so forth. Your
The
email.
website is trulylivingwell.com. I am trulylivingwell.com.
Right.
678-973-0997. That's on the website also. info@trulylivingwell.com if you have something specific. And you can always call me. I spend quite a bit of time on the phone. It's 404-520-8331. And it's Rashid@trulylivingwell.com.
All right, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned. All right, again, my name is Heather Gray, and the program is Just Peace, and I'm here in the studio with Rashid Nuri of the Truly Living Well Center for Natural Urban Agriculture. I'm going to open up the phone lines. The number into WRFG is 404-523-8989. Please give us a call. You know, one of the things that's concerned me, Rashid, about rural farmers is that a lot of them are growing these huge monocrops in order to make a living. They're not necessarily growing these things for food. It's often feed for animals or, industrial something else. But, so how can the farmer make a living?
A small farmer will not get rich. You don't go into this business to get rich.
Okay.
You go in this
How about to
business-
put your children through university or something?
Well, you can find ways to do that. I mean, I think that's an important thing. I mean, I've been involved in agriculture a long time, and I have 7 children who've all finished college.
Yeah, right.
So you can eke out a living, but you just should not anticipate getting rich doing it. Now, you got some of those big commercial farmers do get rich because but the margins are extraordinarily small. But if you got a margin, just to give you an example, if you're going to make $2,000 an acre, $5,000 an acre, and you only have 10 acres, that's $50,000. Okay, but if you have 100,000 acres and you make $5,000 per acre, you've made a lot of money. What's that? $1 million? $5 million? Okay, so. That's where the money is. It's in the scaling up, which is what the economics. That's what they teach you in school. Scale up, get big, and then you can make a lot of money. But you lose out on the quality when you begin scaling up. The margins drop. When I'm just doing a little small piece of land, it's much more intense than if I have a whole bunch of land. And I can pay more attention to my crop.
Yeah, right. Really.
Those are some of the disadvantages of getting too big. But you figure if most of the small farmer, you make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. That's a decent living.
Yeah, exactly. Again, the phone number here to the studio is 404-523-8989. If you'd like to ask a question, make a comment, please join us. 404-523-8989. We hear of somebody calling in here, but one of the problems that farmers face, I think, is that they invest in these huge monocrops and purchase a lot of equipment, go into debt. It's just problematic.
They go into debt. They get mortgaged out.
Yeah.
All the food we grow.
And a lot of them lose their land that way as well.
Well, or get stolen. How we grow food, all you need is a hoe, a rake, and a shovel. Period. Nothing more. And you can grow food and make some good crops.
Okay. Again, the number into the studio is 404-523-8989. Please give us a call. What about apples? You grow a lot of fruit as well as vegetables.
Yeah, one of the unfortunate things about moving is our trees were just starting to bloom.
I know.
Starting to.
Are you going to be able to
fruit.
move them?
I am moving them. Yes,
Oh, okay.
ma'am.
All
I'm
right.
taking everything down there,
Yeah, right.
including the dirt.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
going to take all the compost. We're going to take all that
All
soil.
the raised beds and everything.
With a lot of raised beds, we're disassembling them.
Yeah, right.
But we're taking the soil that we have built. That soil is some good stuff, and we're going to hold
Yeah.
on to that.
Good compost.
We have we had the largest composting operation in the city.
Oh, is that right?
Oh,
I believe
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I believe it. Yeah, excellent,
So,
excellent.
you had another question about fruit? What do you want to ask?
Well, what about apples, though?
Oh, apples grow, as Paul was saying, apples grow all over Georgia. I mean, you can grab. The city councilman, Kwanzaa Hall, he brought a tree that has 4 different types of fruit on it. Because they've grafted it onto the rootstock, and you can grow. There's.
Yeah, what about that grafting? I appreciated Paul saying that. We haven't had much of a discussion about that, Rashid. What
you
about
can
that?
Well, what do you mean? What about it? You can do it if that's what you want to do.
How do you do that? What do you do?
Well, you take a. I appreciate the lady who said that my explanations are simple. I'm very happy to hear that because that's how I plan it. I try to make this stuff less complicated than you're going to get from a textbook and some of these scientists that talk. All you do, you have a root stock. Okay,
What is a rootstock?
The root stock is a plant that's in the ground. Okay, that has roots that are strong. They're going to be able to hold on and absorb nutrients from the soil. And then you can graft by, there's a technique. Basically you do is you just slice the branch at an angle, take off some of the bark off the tree, attach that branch to the tree. It will catch and it will grow. All right, and so you can get a different kind of fruit off rootstock. Now, the one thing that I have a great attraction to that is totally artificial are roses. Okay, the roses that you get in the store, those tea roses, are completely artificial. They're hybrid tea roses, and they are all grown on a rootstock, an old rose rootstock, and then they graft the hybrid roses to that rootstock so they can grow. So sometimes if you cut back your roses too much or they die for some reason, you'll get some growth coming out of that rootstock that's a lot different than what you thought you were going to get. But the essence of the grafting is just they graft skin, just like a doctor will do. Take a piece of skin from one part of the body and put it someplace else and have it grow to cover up wounds that people have. And you do the same thing with plants.
All right. So we could take one more call if somebody wanted to call in. Again, the number is 404-523-8989. I want to go to permaculture. You were talking about permaculture.
Permaculture
How
is
do you
just
define what that is?
Permanent agriculture is what that term means. And this is creating an environment that is a permanent agricultural environment. Some people will build food forest around that. And, you have permaculture design, which is, again, that holistic, making sure you have all those different elements in there. You want to have high canopies, low canopies. It's creating a permanent agriculture that is constantly growing. You want to have make it a closed circuit so you're collecting your own water and that it's complete. It's a complete system where all things are included. That's the simple definition. They have courses on it. You can pay a lot of money and take long courses about permaculture, and they will teach you how to put plants in it, how to collect the water systems, how to design the water systems on your farm so you can collect that water and have it recycled back into the environment. So it can be complicated, or you can think of it as very simple, like I try to do.
All right, so our time has gone quickly, Rashid. So give contact information yet again.
TrulyLivingWell.com is our website. You got lots of information. Everything, not everything. There's a lot of information on the website. Phone number 678-973-0997. My email is Rashid@TrulyLivingWell.com. You can call the company is info at TrulyLivingWell.com. I said my email. My phone number is 404-520-8331. And y'all are very welcome. I honestly, you get an email from me, it will say, and I honestly believe that it's simply service that measures success. And that George Washington Carver said that first.
George Washington Carver. All right. So I want to give our email address, or my email address as well, which is heather@wrfg.org. If you'd like to get on our email list, I would love to send you information about Rashid and all the other folks that we talk with on the show, actually. So again, that's heather@wrfg.org. And I'm going to ask everyone to stay tuned to Sobukwe and Revolutionary African Perspectives.
Thanks for hosting us, Sobukwe.
Thank you, Sobukwe.